Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Dean, and we like to take a spin through other people's lives from time to time here on the program. And I was lucky enough a couple of days ago to be invited to join a couple of guys on Substack that I've been watching from afar for a while. And the beautiful part of Substack is the community brings the world together, Canada, North America, and you kind of find like-minded people through their content on Substack. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, everybody. Come on in, everybody. With what's going on in the United States, the attempt to turn that beautiful country, that shining city on the hill, into a shithole that resembles Russia. And well, let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
I wanted to speak with this gentleman about his time in the service, the militarization of the United States of America. And I also wanted to talk to him about how he sees his own country. Please welcome from Substack, Sick of This Show or Sick of This Shit with Nick. Which one is it? I can't remember. Sick of This Shit?
The overall publication is Sick of This Shit with Nick.
Sick of This Shit with Nick.
Show.
Yeah.
Sick of This Show.
Okay. Nick Paro, ladies and gentlemen. Am I saying your name right, or is it Paro?
Yes, you are. It is Paro.
Okay.
My last name's actually a bastardized French last name. I have quite a few members of my family who live in the Montreal rough area. And so we have a lot of ties to Canada.
You do? I didn't know that. Like your ancestry's Canadian? Is there French Canadian?
Yeah,
is that correct?
we're a very French Canadian family. Half my family is from France. We can trace our lineage back. I think we traced it back once, or no, it's on our ancestry of one of the King Louis. We're related to at one point. We got run out of the country. We had some people who traveled over. We have family who are active in Canada. I'm from Vermont originally, so introduce myself. I'm Nick Paro. I'm from Vermont originally, and I'm proud of all the Canadian friendship that I have and family that I got, because y'all are fucking amazing.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
And so half my family's French Canadian. We've been in Vermont my family's been in Vermont for generations now. So I was at least a fourth generation Vermonter, I think, which means a lot because we've been there since the 1600s and earlier families.
Oh, you were in Vermont when they were still burning witches? Is that correct?
No, that was Salem. That wasn't us.
Sorry. It's all of New England to me.
No. We didn't do that. We had the Green Mountain Boys and Ethan Allen and Lake Champlain, and our claim to history is actually the Green Mountain Boys and Ethan Allen, and we helped stop the British coming in from Canada, and prevented the British coming in from that rough area north, with the French, because the French helped us at that time. The French Canadians liked us.
Yeah.
Was they helped defend us at Fort Ticonderoga and areas like that, and stop the British advancement, which helped us win the Revolutionary War. So one, go Vermont. Two, go fucking Canada, because they helped us win.
Dude, just wanted to say, it's 400 years later, but you're welcome.
Yeah. There you go. We dropped the U in all of our words when we kicked the British out, but we picked it back up with Canada, because you guys still got that U in weird words.
Yeah.
Favorite with an
favorite.
U in it.
Oh yeah, sorry kind of has an ONU in it.
Boot has a couple extra U's in it.
I've spent some time in Detroit, so the Canadian accent kind of got beat out of me by the guy that was telling me what to do when I was on the radio there for a while, and then I came up to Canada, and I still talk like this, still pronounce my sorries as a sorry instead of a sorry. That just sounds weird to me. But it's nice that you've got this beautiful Canadian connection, Nick. It kind of speaks to your sensibilities and the fact that you're standing up for the United States of America, the fact that you are trying to have conversations that different people aren't having, and the fact that you're a veteran just fascinates me. I was on with you and Fred yesterday, Frederick Pogue, who's a Marine vet. You're an Army vet. When did you decide to join the Army? What was the impetus for that?
So my family has like a lot of fellow veterans and service members, my family has a really rich history in American service for the military. My father was the commander of the Mountain Warfare School in Vermont. And for the Vermont National Guard, both my brothers served. My grandfathers both served. I have almost my entire family is either Army or Navy, a couple Air Force folks in there. But almost every male in my family and a lot of the women in our family have served too. My wife's a veteran. My brother's wife, one of my brother's wives is a veteran. So we have a really rich history. Why I joined was my oldest brother, is like 14 years older than I am. He joined up in the early 90s, and then during the Iraq surge, he was deployed. Um, and he was in the Army. He served for a full career over 20 years. He and I now get along really, really well, and talk to each other. And I finally got the chance to tell him the reason I joined up in the Army was because of him,
Mm.
because of my brother. I told him that, and it was true because I always wanted to fly Apaches. He was an Apache mechanic, and I thought that was cool as shit. And it was like the neatest thing. And I've always loved the helmets and like the HUD systems and the tech that goes into it. It's all Palantir now, by the way, which fucking sucks because, fuck
Peter
Palantir.
Thiel, yeah, yeah,
Peter Thiel's a
yeah.
fucking cuck,
Like he
and
has
he
it.
can suck it. I am,
Way to drop it like it's hot. Peter Thiel is the Antichrist. Yeah, I did
he
like he
is
hasn't
the
bugged
Antichrist.
all of the military equipment that everybody's using. I mean, just
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Yeah. Anyway,
Hopefully, my
continue.
CIA agent that likes to listen in on my phone calls and just I drop lines and hints to occasionally. Hope he's enjoying all these lives and talks because I get to rag on some of these people while they have to sit there and go, "Fuck." At least I'm enjoying my day now. At least these phone conversations are fun to listen to for
Yeah.
once. But yeah, I joined up in 2013 after I went to college for the first time. So I got a degree in music theory and composition. So I'm a classically trained musician. I wanted to do film scoring and video game scoring, like fuck, I can't remember his name. John Williams. John Williams was my I
Star
love
Wars.
Star
Yeah.
Wars. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, if you couldn't tell, I like Star Wars. I also have three Lego Star Wars heads over
Yeah.
to the side that I've got. And so I joined up after going to college. I couldn't get into a grad program. It was 250 fucking $1,000 to get into because Carnegie Mellon University is expensive as shit. That's my alma mater for my undergrad. And I'm still paying off student debt, which is part of the issue is being a veteran is I'm still paying off my student debt from school over 10 years ago now.
Mm.
As I joined up in 2013, I went in, I got into the Intel side of it because apparently I'm kind of smart. And I learned how to talk to people.
Mm.
And I enjoy doing that. And then I deployed in 2014. And
Where to?
I went to Afghanistan in 2014 for supporting Operation Enduring Freedom. I went to a base called Fob Shank, which is colloquially we referred to it as Rocket City, because that's where they fucking lobbed rockets at all the time. Our 4th of July, I was there during the 4th of July. It was a hell of a light show from inside a concrete bunker. Because they lit up the sky that night. Like they gave us fireworks. We fired shit ton back from the base. But and I think we killed way more than they did us because they didn't fucking hit shit. But they lit up our sky anyway, so they gave us a great fireworks show.
Yeah.
And then I got back and I had really bad anger issues. I met my wife while I was in the Army. Sort of changed as a person when I got back. And I got out 2017 on a medical discharge because my knees got all fucked up, which has now led to a fibromyalgia diagnosis.
Mm.
And I've been out for almost 10 years, so I'm part of the veteran system. I go to the VA. I'm a disabled veteran. And I'm scared as shit as what's going on.
Mm.
And I'm pissed off as shit. That's what's going on, which is why I got into all of this because I lost my job in the tech field about 8 weeks ago. And I didn't know what else to do. And I've been in years of therapy. And I decided there's either a destructive thing I could do, which is go either basically commit suicide, because that would have been the option, to be totally honest. Like that would have That would have been the option.
Mm.
But I didn't. I didn't go that route. Instead, I fucking wrote poetry. I came on Substack and I wrote poetry. And I decided to write poems about how I was feeling about the fucking robber barons and the fact that I live in a right to work state and I can't sue the company that fired me for wrongful termination because I don't have a case because I live in a right to work state and they can fucking fire you for whatever fucking reason they want. They don't have to tell you what the fuck reason it is either, and they can lie about whatever reason they want, and then they make you sign NDAs so you can't reveal any of the reasons that they fired you or talk about it. And there's a reason I don't ever name a company or who I worked for because I won't break my NDA because I'm not going to go to jail because I'm in a lifetime NDA from the Army anyway. So like I understand how to keep my mouth shut when I don't need to. Unlike the fucking Tiny Tank Trump who put secret documents into his bathroom and let people steal them and sold nuclear documents about our nuclear submarines to Russia and who fucking God knows what. And now we have 2 nuclear submarines sitting outside of Russia, but nobody wants to fucking talk about that because we have nuclear submarines and nuclear weapons documents that were stolen and sold to Russia from a fucking president who is now a treasonous son of a bitch. And I can say that with full throat because his mom fucking sucked too. He's also the son of a bastard. Like his dad's a piece of shit too. Like, let's go. We want to
He
talk
doesn't
lineage.
come from great stock.
No,
is
no.
what you're
Like
saying.
he talks about eugenics and coming from good stock and stallions. He comes from some of the shittiest stock out there. Like, no offense to Mary Trump, because Mary's a fucking amazing person.
Yeah.
She's doing wonderful work.
Oh, this is his niece on Substack that just continues to cut his legs off every single day. I fucking love Mary Trump. She's
my
awesome.
God, Mary Trump is the best.
Yeah.
Mary, if you want to come onto a show, invitation is open. I am happy to have you on a show. I would also be happy to have Trump on a show just so I could fucking scream at him. I would put him on mute the whole damn time so he can't talk back because I don't want to listen to him. But God, he comes from terrible stock. Like, you want to talk eugenics and use their words? Dude, you come from a fucking, like, the raggedy mule in the back who's trying to start brothels instead of doing real work of the mules because you're the jackass. Everybody else is a stallion up there. Like, you want to be white knight. It's actually something Fred Pogue and I talked about and Fred Wellman and I talked about was Pete Hegseth. The reason Trump won't fire Pete Hegseth is because Pete Hegseth is everything Trump wishes he could be.
He's too good looking. He's in great shape. He's got excellent hair, right? Like the hair.
He's a scumbag who can.
He's a piece of shit. Yeah, he's a rapist. He's all those things.
He joined the service without the bone spurs. He had a little bit of bravery. He's everything Trump isn't, that wishes he could be, and everything that Don Jr. and Eric aren't.
Oh, fuck, I hate those two.
He's
my buddy Steve Schmidt calls Don and Eric Uday and Kusei.
I like the Dumb and Dumber memes that have been going around.
They're just
big
too,
ass fucking heads. God, they did it so well.
They do. They're village idiots. They're from a family of village idiots. They're from a family of grifters. They're from, Fred Trump was a sex trafficker, a money launderer. He ran a prostitution ring in New York, brothels around New York. I mean, he's not from good people, which, we already know, and we can park that over here. But I want to go back to you leaving the Army.
Yeah.
And I want to talk a little bit about and lean into it because of what we're seeing today. And of course we'll talk about the supports for veterans. We'll talk about the VA getting gutted and et cetera, et cetera. But as somebody that served his country with distinction, as somebody that put himself in harm's way in Afghanistan, as someone who left the Army with disabilities because of your time protecting those state secrets that Trump stole and put in fucking bathrooms and sold to Russia, that you and your friends put yourself in great danger to try to protect. When you see the militarization of your country, when you see the National Guard get deployed in LA as a vet, and someone who's bright, someone who's smart, someone who understands critical thinking, reasoning, values, virtues, someone who has a moral compass. When you see that as a service member, just simply as a service member, Marines get tagged in to arrest other Marines who are black. I don't know if you saw that fucking video in LA.
I fucking did. I did. Oh, that made me so mad.
But then you look at what's going on in DC right now today. Checkpoints, show us your fucking papers, please. And you see your colleagues and people that should not be on the streets of the United States to police its own people. It is a fucking written rule. I want to know how you feel about it. I want to talk to you, and I want you to unload the clip, so to speak, about what other men and women that are currently on active duty, how they feel about being used to beat the shit out of, scare the shit out of their friends, their neighbors, and people just trying to fucking live their lives in the United States of America.
First off, Dean, thank you for that wonderful introduction there too into this question, because it's a really fucking hard one. It's a really long answer to a very easy question. I'm fucking mad, like point blank. That's it. Like, I live in a state of just constantly being mad about this. But it's finally giving me a chance to use my fucking anger for good and focusing it on something, because you take an oath as a service member to your country. The first lines that you take in that oath are to the Constitution. It is, you will support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We have a known fucking traitorous piece of garbage in the office. And we are seeing not only National Guards members in DC, and this is where it gets really fucked up and people aren't talking about it enough. And Chris Goldsmith talked about this on the Find Out podcast this morning that they let out, is the National Guard members that are being deployed to DC are from Confederate states. They are Confederate National Guard states members, mostly white, being rushed through weapons training so that they can do presence patrols in DC. A presence patrol, for those who are not veterans, is where you take your big ass trucks, you get all your gear on, and you go stand in the middle of a city and threaten everybody by your presence, telling everybody and reminding everybody that you have guns and violence and you're going to fucking use them and kill them. There's a reason they're taking pictures in front of the National Mall and the Lincoln Monument and all of that, because it's propaganda. It's the same reason that DHS violated their own fucking regulations this week and released predator drone pictures, predator drones that we use to murk people in war, flying over LA, targeting protesters, peaceful protesters, predator drones. I'm livid. The fact that there are National Guards members and governors who think this is right, who are not standing up, because the final line of your oath to this country as an enlisted service member, which is what I did. I enlisted in the Army. I was a sergeant when I got out, and I led soldiers, because that's what fucking sergeants do, is you lead people. I know how to lead people and do all these things, and this is not what you do. This is fucking traitorous garbage, because they are turning Americans against Americans. People ask, how did the Civil War start? How did brother against brother, sister shoots sister? This is how, because they made people afraid of each other. They're using white West Virginian and Kentucky National Guard and South Carolina and places like that. And Arkansas is going to be there too, because, we wanted to secede from the Union when we were part of it. I live in Arkansas now. I live in a red state. I live under Sarah fucking Huckabee Sanders, who's a piece of shit. And her government.
Yeah, but she's so good looking, dude.
Is she? Is she though? She's got that weird like trad wife thing going on. And I don't understand who her stylist is, because who wears like that short dress just right above the knee with the boots like that?
Her stylist is Estelle Getty from Golden Girls. She
Oh.
just watches repeats of Golden Girls and just dresses like Estelle Getty. Anyway, so back to, you're in a red state, and they're
in a red state, and they're sending National Guard members to DC to patrol Black neighborhoods, Hispanic neighborhoods, minority neighborhoods to pick up people off the streets and clear it of homeless people. Do you know how the largest community of homeless people in this country are? Veterans. They are Vietnam vets, they are Desert Storm vets, and they are my brothers and sisters and others from post 9/11 war vets who are on the streets because when I got out, I was one of the lucky ones to get out on a medical discharge and actually get approved by the VA for it. That happened because they tried to fuck over my goddamn career and let my wife almost die by sending me to a training while she was a soldier and pregnant too. So I have some qualms with the fucking Army. They fucked me over. The only reason I got out is because my wife and I made a fucking fit and don't let things go. And she did what she needed to do to get a shitload of men who told her no fired and who told me that I had to go to a training exercise and teach people instead of being with a pregnant wife so they can go fuck themselves. She got them fired and I got a medical discharge because I needed one and she fought for me. And she, my wife, who is a veteran, who served longer than I did, and goddamn, I love her service for it because she did more than I did, but she helped me get out. And these people who are living on the streets, most of them are fucking veterans that we don't ever want to talk about because we let them fall through the cracks. And now we're fucking rounding them up to put them in God knows where and do God knows what with them. Oh, and then we're also loosening the restrictions to let veterans out of the service because of mental health issues. And now that we're punishing trans service members by not letting them retire or have any medical care, or they're back rescinding all of their stuff. And you know they're going to try and take back money because of that shit. They're going to say, all of the retirement we paid you, you now fucking owe us. So guess what? You're now a debtor and you're going into fucking prison too. And pitting veterans against veterans is fucking horseshit. And you know who's going to lead this charge? Veterans. Because we're fucking pissed. Because we are so goddamn mad at what is going on. You listen to Fred Wellman, you listen to Chris Goldsmith, you listen to Ken Harbaugh, you listen to Bobby Jones, you listen to all of the veterans out there. They're going to tell you exactly what I'm going to say. Peacefully and patriotically, we're going to fight tooth and nail to the end to win this fucking country back because it's horseshit that these fascist fucks are trying to take over, and they can go back into the time warp of history where they belong because I was taught never again as a kid, and they can go fucking shove my never again fist right up their ass.
You know, God, I love you. God, I love you. That's some plain speak with the American flag, the Star-Spangled Banner, the once highly respected, flying behind you, trying to take that back. We had the same issue here in Canada. Maple MAGA, they tried to co-opt the Canadian flag, flying it upside down, blah, 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 blah. And we took that flag back when we elected Mark Carney up here in Canada. We dodged the bullet, the one you didn't.
I'm so glad y'all did that. I was rooting for everyone. I have some friends in Fred Wellman's chat on one of his shows who's Canadian. And God, we were rooting so fucking hard for y'all. And so glad it happened. Thankfully, one of these two countries decided to do something right. Actually, two of the three did it right too. Like two of the three major North American countries all did it right. And guess which one didn't? You fucking S.
Well, and you know what? But the problem with, you know, disregarding servicemen and women in our country is the same as it is in your country, you know, and we're seeing the rearmament, the rebuilding of our military. You know, if you're trans, you're allowed to serve. Not only allowed to serve, we welcome you. And what I've seen in terms of, you know, the dialing back, going back to, you know, don't ask, don't tell. What I've seen in terms of telling trans men and women or trans people that they're not going to get a fucking pension if they've served between 15 and 19 years and they just got removed from the Army because they're trans. Same thing with the LGBTQ community. Same thing with women in uniform. Same thing with women combatants. You know, I watched Pete Hegseth, and I want to get your opinion on him because I know your opinion on Trump. But to watch a drunk Fox Weekend host who's got a history of sexual abuse and rape, who's got a history of philandering, that's so much longer and so much more distinguished than his history as a service member get elevated to the top of the DOJ, get elevated to the Secretary of fucking Defense, leaking signal chats of war plans, telling trans people they're no longer wanted, telling you people like you don't matter, and we're going to gut the VA, and we're going to end any work programs because you don't need it. You need to go stand on your own 2 feet. Something that piece of shit has not done. Walk around with, I don't know if you heard this story, 500 security detail.
Oh, I
because
did.
because he's that afraid.
You were
That
talking about
afraid.
this yesterday on the
Yeah.
Five Stack, right?
Yeah, we were. We were talking about how much of a pussy he is. Some alpha male doing, pull-ups, but he's got 500 security people around him all the time protecting him from
Not even full pull-ups, too, like little.
No, they were baby pull-ups. Yeah, they were underhanded pull-ups. It's not how you do an army.
They're not a real pull-up where you
No.
actually have to pull your fucking body up with your
Yeah,
back
yeah,
and know
yeah.
how to do shit.
But like, in America is a cackerstocracy, but I want someone's take who's actually put blood, sweat, and tears, who has a disability for serving in the Army, who has served with distinction. Your take on Pete Hegseth's resume, number one, and then your take on him, Doge, and Trump deciding to gut the VA, telling you and telling doctors at the VA they don't necessarily have to service. They don't necessarily have to treat someone who identifies as a Democrat. I want your take on all that shit. Okay. And that's a lot to unpack, Nick, but I know you can do it because you're a genius.
No, that's actually really easy to unpack in this case, because here's the first part. Pete Hegseth should be remanded back into service. He should be put on tribunal and sent to Leavenworth as a treasonous piece of shit. Pete Hegseth, this is for you. Fuck you. Like, straight fuck, no lube, right up the nostril, right into your brain, because fuck you all the way off. I'll even do 2 fingers, and we'll just shove it right up your nose, and we'll carry you out of this country because you're a piece of shit. You're a cuck. You're a giant pussy. Sorry, you're not a pussy, because pussies push shit out. Pussies take a pounding, and they push babies out. You know what you are? You're a giant weak testicle. You're a taint. You're the shit between the testicle and the asshole that just gets like shit stuck on it sometimes, and you're a hairy taint too. You're a waste of human breath, and you're ruining the armed services. And what that means is you're ruining the armed services. You have destroyed the honor of the men and women and others who are serving in our noble armed services, and you are politicizing them in a way that is inappropriate. It is anti-constitutional. It is not unconstitutional.
It's undemocratic. It's mean.
No,
it's evil. It's shitty.
No. We're going further. We've decided it's not anymore, because leaves you in the bounds that you believe that democracy or the Constitution are worth it. They're anti, because they want to tear it down and replace it. It's in their fucking way. Pete Hegseth is a nationalist Christian, or a Nazi, as Qasim Rashid would say, which I love that, because they're Nazis, nationalist Christians. His church, I do a talk with a friend every Tuesday and Thursday on Dominionism, and we read one of his church's sermons. It's a fucking suppression article and domination article guised as marital advice. He's a piece of shit, garbage human being that doesn't believe women should even be in the armed forces.
I believe he even retweeted something that said women not only shouldn't be in the armed forces, they shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
He believes women shouldn't vote or be in the armed services. You know what? The history of the armed services is defined on the back of the women who picked up their service and honored our country and stood to the challenge and made things like our combat medic brigades and our combat hospitals and our ways to save the service members, because they weren't allowed to fight, but God damn it, did they want to fucking serve, and they did. So disgracing the women in our service is a fucking shame, and you should be ashamed and fired for just doing that, Pete Hegseth. But you pushed honorable women and men and people of color out of their positions, and we lost 2 fucking fighter jets in the Red Sea off a Navy carrier. Those billions of dollars you just fucking threw into the ocean, God damn it, Pete Hegseth, you're a piece of shit taint. You're a testicle because you're soft, weak, you hang out near an asshole all the time, and that one's orange. Or the other one's named JD, and I don't know which is worse. But to
Oh, you're
talk
talking
about,
about the vice president couch humper, JD Vance. Yes,
but yeah,
yeah,
Couch Fucker
another
Vance.
very soft cuck. And if anybody wants a little Schadenfreude in their day, I'm going to post this a little later on. DeanBlundell.substack.com. Several videos of Pete Hegseth and Nosferatu's Stephen Miller
Oh God, don't get me started on that
and
piece of
VP.
shit.
Well, we're going to get there. Don't worry, because I really love the colorful language you use, and I want to prolong this podcast a little longer.
Oh, absolutely. I have
But
some time.
JD Vance and his other two henchmen show up to Union Station in Washington yesterday amidst to bring donuts and sandwiches to their ICE Gestapo.
The guy who
And
can't order donuts himself.
yeah, and walks in with the donuts, and then they hold court, and it's all gaslighting and bullshit. Stephen Miller is like, the only people that are protesting outside are elderly hippies, stupid elderly hippies. That's how we don't
Oh, I
care
saw
about
that.
dumb elderly hippies. And then JD Couchhumper's like, well, just look around. We're stopping crime. And someone's like, hey, what kind of crime are you stopping? And JD Vance is like, well, just look around. Well, that's all you got to do. And Hegseth shows up with literally 100 security guards, and then you've
What a
got
pussy. What a
50 or
testicle.
100. These are three of the biggest babies, the biggest mama's boys, the biggest victims, the biggest frauds in the Trump administration, acting tough, literally on the way out, getting catcalled, getting called Nazis, getting called cucks, getting called couch fuckers. And by the way, the guy yelling, "You couch fucker," it was all time. He's like
He
a
deserves a
40-year-old
medal.
dude, and he's
He
wearing
deserves a medal.
and he's wearing a polo shirt, and he's got his camera up. He goes, "Fuck you, couch fucker!" And JD looks around, and all of a sudden, the pace of these three cucks starts to pick up, as well
They're
as their
like
detail.
running by the
Because
end.
yeah, they're like, we don't like this. Like it was, dude. It was everything. If you wanted an avatar, a moment of who those three pricks, those mealy mouthed sucks are, who they really are, I want you to go and look at that post I put up a little later on, because the video tells an incredible story, to your point, surrounded by cucks. And I know how much you hate Pete Hegseth, but what he's done to the VA, what this
It's disgusting.
admin has done to the VA, speak to that a little bit and how it's affected you and some of your former veterans. As you point out, the majority of homelessness in the United States are United States veterans. So, you got the homeless issue where they're taking people to homeless concentration camps in D.C. You've got the VA that's gutted. So they've effectively shut off all the taps and are trying to funnel you and people like you who are on the streets, who've paid the ultimate sacrifice, into a concentration camp. But let's talk about the VA for a second, if you can. Your thoughts.
Yeah. So the VA to me is very special. And it's also I hate it and I love it. Um, because it's a system that has been destroyed purposely to make it look like it shouldn't work, because it's the closest thing we have to socialized medicine in this country. Because I don't pay anything extra for the VA. It's paid through our taxes. That was actually the bargain that the US government made for the services, that if you go to war post 9/11, we will pay for you for the rest of your life for health benefits, the PACT Act, things like that. I am an impacted veteran. I was near burn pits. I spent time in Afghanistan, and if you spend any time in Afghanistan, you're fucking hurt by something, because you're breathing in toxic fumes and weaponry and burning shit
Lead.
and
Yeah.
lead and all sorts of things that are left over from the cold,
Yeah, well, Hunter
from the
Biden
Soviet.
died because of his service. He was too close to a toxic burn pit, developed a tumor, and died. Right, like that's one of the more
Yeah,
famous stories. Yeah, yeah, and it's a
yeah.
big deal. Like Jon Stewart has been a
Mhm.
warrior for victims of toxic burn pits in
Yeah.
Afghanistan and abroad. Yeah,
And 9/11 itself, like the fact that, like, just the ash from 9/11, that is similar to, like, the towers that fell when John Stewart fights for that stuff. That's the same stuff we deal with. It brings on cancers, it brings on unknown diseases. I've had friends who have died randomly. They got one day they got a no um uh call from the doctor saying, "Hey, you got cancer." 6 weeks later, they're fucking dead. Like, I wish that wasn't true, but it was. Like, last year I had two cancer scares. Like, they called me twice telling me they think I have cancer. And all my data got fucking stolen from the like the doctor's office there, which suspiciously looks a lot like Doge data steals, like purge and records that they were trying to gather. So I have some thoughts on that. But the VA itself is the reason I'm here. The VA itself, it's the reason I'm still alive because
Would
the
you have
mental
taken your
health,
life if the VA didn't exist?
more than likely. I can't say for certain because I can't change the whether I did whatever not, but probably. I was in the ER right when I first got started being diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And this is important because I'm now on year 2.5 and I'm on month 6. Today, actually, after this call, I get to go see my doctor for the first time in over 6 months because I'm reestablishing care. Yeah, Bo Biden was the one who
Sorry, Bo Biden.
um,
Yeah. Not
um,
Hunter. Yeah.
just to correct the names.
Thank you.
I'm 6 months out for care in a 2.5 year process right now of fibromyalgia diagnosis because my doctor quit during the Doge shit and left. And my care teams at the VA we went from a quarter, I think a half staff to maybe quarter staff on care teams. So I was lucky that I'm 35 years old and I've been fighting for 2.5 years just to get a diagnosis for myself. I think somebody said something in the chat about age. But my doctor quit 6 months ago, and I've been fighting to get care reestablished. Like, I was lucky enough to get a new appointment. I was even lucky enough to get a new care providing team because my mental health provider, which is the service that I use the most at the VA and which is the most important to me, and is one of the ones that they're trying to re-demonize and cut apart by forcing our doctors into rooms with each other and not being able to have private conversations with your provider where somebody else might be able to actually hear the conversation go on. Is when I first started this process of being diagnosed, I had an ER doctor at the VA tell me how little my life was worth because the orthopedic surgeon that saw me before, when I went in, I had hurt my leg again. I had torn a meniscus without knowing it, but I was supposed to be going in to get surgery. The day before I went in to get my appointment at the VA to talk to the surgeon, I tore my meniscus coaching soccer. So my son's team. He didn't fucking say anything. The dude, a surgeon, an orthopedic surgeon, didn't say anything. I had to fight to get a knee brace. And he was like, yep, you're fine. Like, you'll be good. Here, just take this knee brace, go down there. They'll get you that. You'll be fine.
Here's
And then
200 oxys. You go and
didn't even
just
offer that.
eat the.
Didn't even give me that. They didn't. He was like, yeah, go get some Tylenol and here's this knee brace. You'll be fine. Community care will call you in a couple weeks and you'll get scheduled for a surgery. Well, 6 months later was when my surgery got scheduled because I missed one phone call and they scheduled me with the most inconvenient service possible that they could as a community care. So I went into the ER at the VA a couple months later, and I had one of the ER doctors tell me that I wasn't seen by that provider because he wasn't going to get paid for it. So he kept talking about money and how little my life was worth. And I asked the nurse standing behind him with my kids in the room and my wife. I told her that if he kept saying how little my life was worth, I would rather be dead. And I meant every single word of it in front of my children. In front of my children 2 years ago, and neither of my children are teenagers yet. And they remember it, and I know they do because they still ask me about it. And the only reason I'm here is because the VA also had mental health teams that were amazing and taught me skills to get through it and cared for me through this whole time. I've been through 1.5 years of group therapy, emotional distress tolerance therapy to learn how to do and learn how to cope with these things and not want to kill myself and actually value my own life. The VA is now being attacked and dismantled for services that I relied on and need and other veterans need because they no longer are going to have to ask you, hey, do you want to commit suicide today? If you say something about it, they're no longer required to do that. They're shutting down the veteran specific suicide prevention hotline. 22 a day, veterans. They kept saying 22 a day is too many, 22 a day. Well, then why are you shutting down the fucking hotline that helps any of us call and have any fucking mental health care or any chance of surviving? Because we don't want to talk about it. Nobody does. Nobody wants to admit that they want to kill themselves. But if somebody asks you, you're going to tell them. If somebody asks you who cares and you trust, you're going to tell them. And the VA, through Doug Collins and Secretary of the VA, Doug Collins, and Secretary of Defense, Pete Taint Hegseth, are dismantling the system that has saved my life multiple times and saved the lives of my friends multiple times and saves the lives of service members and veterans who I will never meet and never know and never have to because they made the choice to sign up. We have a service that is voluntary, and we volunteered for it knowing what could happen, and we were given a promise, and they are breaking that promise. And I am pissed off, not because it affects me, because I will be fine, because I'm going to keep going at this point, but it pisses me off to no end because it's going to affect and kill people that I served with, served for, and had the honor of being like. And they are having these services taken out from under them. And if you're not pissed off, you're fucking next. Because if they can do it to veterans who are supposed to be the most protected and revered class of people in this country, basically, at almost every point, the one thing you hear is veterans, veterans, veterans. We love and we honor and we respect our veterans. Well, if you fucking love and honor and respect us, then don't take our fucking services away. And if they're going to take our services away, they're taking yours away. It's coming because they already approved it. They're just waiting for it to happen until after the midterms in 2026. But it's here. They're taking your fucking services away. And now they're militarizing the National Guard and making it normal for the National Guard to sit in DC or states and cities like LA. And the reason they're doing it with the Marines in areas is because the Marines don't fall under Posse Comitatus Act the same way that the Army and the Air Force do, because they weren't invented at the time. They weren't included. And ICE is not a military force. ICE is a police force, which means they don't have DOD regulations. They don't have DOD standards. They don't have DOD reporting. They don't have DOD structure. And they do not have the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which swears you to uphold the law and defend and support the Constitution. And if you do not, you get to go to jail too as a traitor. Like that's the thing, is like you break that part of the oath, you get to go to Leavenworth, and the military prisons aren't fun. They're not civilian prisons. And I fucking hope Pete Hegseth goes there. I hope Michael Flynn goes there. I hope traitors, pieces of trash like this. I hope that testicle looking human being, because he does look like a ball sack, Stephen Miller, just a giant ball sack walking around going, his stupid ass fucking shaved head looking like a piece of garbage. And yeah, you're a self-hating Jew, Stephen Miller. I'm Jewish. You're a fucking piece of garbage. You don't represent anything that we talk about or we learned about, because never again meant never fucking again. And you're perpetrating the largest attempted genocidal acts and apartheid-like acts ever. And you're a piece of garbage human being who should be flushed down the toilet with the turd that is Donald Trump.
Dude.
Was that subtle enough?
Yeah.
Was that subtle enough?
You know, there's something on the nose about you, Nick, that I really appreciate. It's amazing having this conversation with you, someone who has served his country with distinction and is on the other side of his service, watching the promise that was made to you by the government that you pledged your life to get ripped away from you. But there's so much detail that a lot of people, I'm sure, that are watching this, and everybody, please go and subscribe to Chiron at the top, where you see my name and Nick's name. Just press it. You can subscribe to Nick. He's a truth teller. He's also an advocate for men and women from the service, who is doing his level best right now to inform everybody about, exactly what it is that you get in return for sacrificing your life, your existence, your career for a 34-time felon slash rapist slash pedophile who's hiding the Epstein files, who is hiding his involvement in selling nuclear secrets to other countries, who is hiding the fact that he is going after you. And to your point, and it's a Trump meme, but if you can, they're not they're not coming for me, they're coming for you. I'm just in the way. If they
Yep.
can start with people like you, they're definitely going to try to physically or figuratively waterboard the rest of that country into being fearful, into being sick, into not having the services you need, into being haves instead of have-nots. I mean, that's really the takeaway from this for me is that to be able to get on the inside, to have your experience prior to the Trump prior to the Trump regime, and knowing that experience was really difficult to navigate for you to begin with. And then to watch the gutting of the VA, to watch this regime take, your colleagues, men and women in uniform. You talk about posse comitatus, to direct them in a surgical and strategic way to go after the men and women in that country who you swore an oath to fucking protect at home and abroad. It's truly like, it's not just eye-opening, but, there are men and women in service, men and women in uniform, and you point out your lifetime NDA and other NDAs you had to sign to leave the Army that are scared shitless of doing what you're doing right now, which is being able to speak up. And the other side of that is the reputation of the U.S. Army, right? You talked about how, the veterans were this protected class, this revered group of people. Like I've seen hundreds of people in the chat today go, thank you so much for your service. Every time I
Thank
meet
you,
them,
everyone.
every time I meet a man or woman in uniform here in Canada, you go to a baseball game, you might see him. There's a military night where you're thanking the military. I'm moved almost to tears. I will go out of my way to put my hand in front of those people and say, thank you so much for doing something I am petrified to do. Standing in front of evil, standing in front of danger so that I don't have to, because I'm a huge pussy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And and that was a calling card for people to join the U.S. Army, right? Is
Yeah, it
that
was.
reputation, that reverence. When you talk to
Honor
people,
and service.
yes, but when you talk to people now, and I know what you're going to say, which is, maybe you were proud, but you're no longer proud because of what's happened and what he's done. You might still be, but are men and women in uniform today, embarrassed by this? How do they feel in terms of the reputation of the Army, the Navy, the military? How do they feel about being in the armed forces, knowing that a fascist president, rapist, felon president is legitimately using them to hurt their family, hurt their friends, and hurt their neighbors?
I can't speak for active service members that I don't know and haven't met, but I do able to speak from my position as someone who was active and knows people who are fighting and working with people who are active. Is they're fucking pissed. A lot of them are, because the armed services tradition from from the get-go, from George fucking Washington, who laid down his saber, gave up military command to become the civilian leader of this country on fucking purpose, gave up his saber, laid it down, and all of our founders agreed, and throughout the entirety of our US history. And I am a patriot. I'm a proud patriot of this country. I fly the fucking flag for a reason. I fly the American flag for a reason, because it's my fucking flag, because my grandparents and my parents and my siblings and my cousins and my family and my wife and her family and others fought for this country, and it's our fucking flag. It's our symbol because it represents freedom, not this bullshit fascist prick garbage. But I I find it, it's a very difficult concept, because I grew up with a officer for a father, and I understand the level of active duty officers. They take an extra oath or an extra There is an extra distinction when you become an officer where you are apolitical, where you lose politics. And if you talk about politics, other officers will tell you to shut the fuck up. Because if you influence your soldiers in your politics, you're a bad officer and you should lose command. That's how it is. That's how the military used to be. Now, our generals are being screened by Trump personally because he
Yeah.
wants generals like Hitler had. But Hitler's generals tried to kill him. So I don't know why he wants Hitler's generals because they tried to kill him. And I think this time they'd succeed because he's a little slow and lethargic these days. And dementia Don is not really moving very much. His words are slurring. His face is going.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
he
orange
can't locate
shit.
world leaders right in front of him.
Yeah, the
And it,
Epstein files are weighing him down as the eagle jizz gets his hair slicked over. Um, but it's disgusting to see what he's doing to the armed services because I'm not unproud of the services. I am not saddened by the services. I am disgusted by the individuals who are trying to taint them and destroy them. And the taint that is Pete Hegseth is tainting our service. He is ruining it. He's trying to turn it into a white nationalist crusaders
Hmm.
service. He wants the crusades because he himself is a fucking apocalyptic cult member and believes in the end of times and that we need to get all of the people of Israel, the Jews, back into Israel, build the temple, and then kill all the Jews and start a holy war so that they can ascend to heaven. He wants to start a holy war. He wants to start a crusade. He has crusader tattoos. He believes in crusades. That is not the US military. That is not what we were founded to do. We are a civilian force founded to protect the nation and its citizens and her people from enemies, foreign and domestic. And they are violating their oaths every day by doing what they're doing. And I think service members should begin standing up even more than they are. And one of the ways that they stood up was my favorite scenes of all time is Tiny Tank Trump with his little tiny squeaky tanks and the soldiers sitting on top giving heart emojis out to all the people in the crowd and the Green Berets marching out of step because
Hmm.
those motherfuckers, if they wanted to, could have marched in step and sang a silent cadence and saluted the president of the fucking United States and said, they walked around with their, I got my squeaky wheels and my little baby tanks, just going squeak, squeak, squeak. And it was the most amazing thing in the world because they did it on purpose.
Yeah,
They
that was an
fucking did it
active
on
protest.
purpose.
Yeah, it was
And they
incredible to watch.
didn't,
Yeah.
and they didn't politicize it. They just said, no, we don't like what you're doing to the service, so we're going to subtly protest because we can't speak out in certain ways because you're not allowed to, and that's good. It's good that the military doesn't because when we rely on the military to defend the Constitution at the very end, that is when governments fall. That's what happened in Rome. We're the Roman Empire. We're just letting it happen ourselves. We're just shooting ourselves in the foot, and we're going to football games while they tear us down and destroy everything. Like, fuck them.
Yeah.
I don't like them, and I want to make sure that I touch on Stephen Miller just a little bit more. I
Please.
want to make
Yeah.
sure
No,
I talk about
you've
him.
eviscerated Pete Nutsack and the Orange Clown. You might as well
The tank
finish off Stephen Miller. Nosferatu, Stephen Goebbels. Please go ahead.
Okay, Pee Wee German over here, and Mr. Goebbels Light over here is a garbage ass human being who has so much self-loathing and self-hate that he is turned into the ugliest human being fucking alive.
In
Like
America,
Donald,
dude, have you seen the video of him from high school? Have you seen that
like he
video
was
of him?
decently like attractive dude. Like he was a nice.
He had hair, but he was
Yeah.
still the same guy. There's a video of him from high school running for student council.
Oh, he
Okay,
was a bigot back then.
Oh, he was already a bigot. And he's like, if you vote me in, you'll never have to clean up garbage because that's what our dumb janitors are for. They're supposed to clean up our fucking garbage. And I'm like, oh, so he's always been Stephen Miller. Like he's always been a worthless piece of shit.
I did
Always.
some research on him a little while ago and I started some articles into him, and his family really isn't very different than mine in terms of they came over to New York. They're a Jewish family that was stripped out of Russia and Belarus. And they settled in, I think it was Pennsylvania. His family set up a really like common business, like a nice business that was very good for the community. They were always a little more conservative, but his family isn't like him, not like this. And he went to college at Duke and started like some really shitty fucking clubs. I think it's like Spy Spencer was his last name. I forget. I'll look it up again, but he he's with Nazis from the start. Like he looked at the Nazis and said, bet I can do it better. And he looks at all the sci-fi movies and like dystopian movies and he's like, bet I can do it better. I want to be Lex Luthor, but I'm ugly because hate makes you look ugly. So like I have this thing because Stephen Miller's really not that much older than I am. He's I think in his 40s. He looks like he's probably like an 80-year-old man who's got like that frog butt thing going on where like he's chapped his ass off because he's scratched it so much because he's had to think too hard to get thoughts out. He's just scratching his frog ass off and he's just like, I'm a little fucking nerd and I'm gonna dweeb you to death with my stupid ideas and I hate you because you're a prick and fuck him. Just
But Nick, listen, isn't that the MO of every maggot underling? They're
it,
like these bullied incels who no one liked in high school,
they're dweebs.
they're dweebs and they're angry about it. And Trump has managed to find all of them and put them in his fucking cabinet. And Stephen Miller should be the king of the fucking incels. Like
All right.
he
So
he.
I'm gonna
Go ahead.
read off my I'm gonna read off my Shakespeare insult mug to, I'll put it up there too. Thou art a boil, a plague sore. That's what you are, Stephen Miller. You're a fucking boil. You're light of brain. You're bolting hutch of breathlessness. Not so much brain as earwax. You're a mountain of mad flesh. You rampallion, you fistrallion. I don't even know what those words mean, but they
I don't know, but they
sound.
sound terrible. Yeah,
I do
yeah.
desire we may be better strangers. I fucking love that one. That one's one of my favorite. I do desire we be better strangers.
That's a
Like
nice thing to say to someone at a dinner party who you're tired of talking to as well. I do desire we
Stephen
become
Miller,
better
yeah,
strangers.
yeah. The second I meet Stephen Miller, like infinite and endless liar, an hourly promise breaker. Like he's all of the shit that Shakespeare wrote about in the best way. Long tongued babbling gossip. Like he's a piece of garbage human being that deserves the trash bins of history. Like what is it? Adam Sandler's movie Little Nicky, where Hitler's in that like maid suit and having the pineapple shoved up his ass. I hope he has his head shoved up uh fucking Hitler's ass, and then I hope his feet get shoved into Trump's ass and he turns into a fucking like that human centipede of a human being where he then has
By the
to
way,
get
one of the
rode
most
around like a
disturbing
pony.
movies you'll ever
Oh
see,
my
The Human
God,
Centipede.
so gross. So disturbing. But like
I
we
knew where
hope
you were
that,
going, where you started inserting different parts of Stephen Miller inside other
yep,
world dictators.
I hope he has to just live his life eating Hitler's shit in hell, where his mouth is sewn open and the only thing he is fed is shit from Hitler's ass. Like, that's what I want
It's a
his
strong
life to
statement,
be.
Nick. Yeah.
That's what I want his afterlife to be. I hope he has the day he deserves.
Yeah, I do too, but I hope, unlike you, I hope it's on display and I hope it's at The Hague and I hope we get to see him cry and I hope we see him in chains and I hope we see him accused of crimes against humanity. But,
Yes,
the
yes.
human centipede punishment, not the worst thing I've heard for a guy like
No,
that. Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
mean, it seems fair, doesn't it? Like,
I don't think it isn't.
he's fused shit, so he may as well eat shit.
Yeah.
But I'll disagree with one point on you is I hope he doesn't go to The Hague because I hope the US decides to take this opportunity to go so hard into our progressive values and values that actually care about human beings that we do the one thing we've never been able to do, which is say no more. And we don't even let it get to The Hague because there is a punishment for treason in this country. There is a punishment for treason in this country, and it does not revolve around other countries having to do it. And it's really cheap. Like the amount of lead or copper or
Yeah, it's like
nickel that
7
goes
guys and some
in.
guns. Yeah, and put
Yeah,
them against a
it's
cement
you don't
wall.
even
Yeah.
need seven. You just need one with three rounds, and that's what, like 30 cents or some shit.
I
Like
don't know.
you
I
just
we
melt
don't
down a
have a lot
couple
of guns up
pennies.
here, and we don't have ammo stores, and I couldn't tell you what a bullet costs. But
Yeah,
to your
like melt
yeah.
down some pennies and turn them into bullets. Like that's what he's worth. He's worth pennies on the dollar.
Or a good old fashioned stoning by people that he has sent to CCOT who've magically found their way back, or a good old fashioned stoning by Americans who have been caught up in this, and veterans who'd like to take a strip off of him.
Tarn and
I
feathered,
yeah, I don't
drawn
think
and
he,
quartered.
yeah. Well, there's that's aggressive too. A little Braveheart action.
A
That's
little
interesting.
bravehearty.
Yeah.
These are
Um.
not threats. These are just jokes.
No,
I
no. It's
am
just
not
their
threatening anybody.
dreams.
I'm just
Yeah.
wish casting into the future that one day Stephen Miller gets the day he deserves because it's coming.
I hope they all
Bless
do.
his
I hope
heart.
Tulsi
Bless
Gabbard
his
gets it. I hope they all do. I hope they all get hauled in front. I hope that there is a day that comes that they all deserve, and I hope it's televised. And I hope America is able to line up behind people like you, Nick, behind people like Fred, veterans who have seen the worst, who are smart enough to understand what's at stake and what's going on, and are willing to speak out, that have the courage to do so. And as colorful as Nick has been today, it underscores the emotion behind the devastation that's not just being visited on Americans, but Americans who have put their lives at risk serving the
Mhm.
United States of America to protect the very people that Donald Trump is now triggering into being attacked by the men and women who have served their country with distinction, who are sick of this, who are tired of this. Speaking of being sick of this shit with Nick is his name of his Substack Live. I would highly encourage everybody to go and subscribe, paid subscribers as well. This is a veteran. This is someone that could use this support. This is someone who has a family, and his content is absolutely worth paying for, as you could tell by the last hour that we took a spin through some
Thank
really
you, Dean. That
interesting
means a lot.
conversations. Oh, it's true, dude. You do such a great job. Not for the faint of heart. This is a guy who's raw. This is a man who represents, hundreds of thousands of other very raw, at-risk veterans who are just as equally as pissed. But Nick is speaking up. Frederick's speaking up. Other veterans are speaking up for veterans. And to your point, and I said this the other day, is there's 70 million people in the United States of America,
Mhm.
so close to 300 million people that didn't vote for Donald Trump, who are all strapped, who all have ammunition, who all are very aware of what's at stake at this moment in time. And I think if you're Donald Trump, or if you're Pete Hegseth, you probably want to put that on your radar, because veterans who've been abused and marginalized, who have nothing to lose, will stand
Yeah.
up for the United States of America. They will stand up for the soul of that country. And that's where we're headed. So I encourage everybody to follow Nick, encourage everybody to subscribe to him, encourage everybody to share this podcast. Little hearts at the bottom, that little square. Obviously, a little arrow. You can send that to people that want to know it. If you have veterans in your life that identify with Nick's story, if you are one of them, share this. Get in touch with Nick. He's not just an incredible resource. He's a very, very good man. And he's navigating his mental health, his physical health, in a time when the deck is stacked against you and other veterans like you that have made the ultimate sacrifice, which is giving your life to your country, whether you got to keep your life or not. So many of you have come back with PTSD, first episode depression, anxiety. Suicide rates in the veterans community are triple what they are for any other community in the United States of America. I'll end with this. There's a video that I watched, and it's going to bring me to tears, because it always does every time I talk about it, or every time I watch this video. of a veteran. I think he was pulled over at the side of the road. He has hazard lights on, and a police officer with a body cam comes up to the window, and he sees this veteran in his car bawling his eyes out, like weeping. And the officer does the human thing, and he's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "I can't get a hold of anyone at the VA. I just want to die." And he's like, "Oh, buddy, can I help you? What can I do for you?" And this police officer, this veteran, I get emotional talking about it. Veteran says to him, "I just need a hug. Like I just need a hug." And this police officer wrapped his arms around this veteran, and it's one of the more moving videos I've ever seen when it comes to the plight of people like yourself, your colleagues, the men and women in uniform, trans, straight, gay, not, doesn't matter. What matters is that you in the United States are now looked at like you're a problem, and that is not not the America that I grew up revering, not the reason you joined the service. So if you're one of those people and you identify with Nick, please follow Nick. And Nick Paro, Sick of This Shit with Nick, is the name of his Substack live. You and Fred do a great job. I posted at my Substack. You can watch yesterday's live that I got a chance to join these guys. I put out a post about it. Where we kind of break a little bit of this stuff down, but get into the bigger problem is that we've got broken men in the United States. There's broken young men here in Canada, and Nick is one of those people that refuses to stay broken, refuses to be that person. So you can learn a lot from him, and you can also connect with him right here on Substack. Again, Sick of This Shit with Nick is his Substack, and the little chyron at the top, hit it, subscribe to both of us, and again,
Let me
become a
plug
paid
my other
sub.
one too.
Yeah, please.
Let me plug my other one. Since you've been talking about, and it's one of the things that I've been doing to help fight back, is myself, Frederick Pogue, and Lawrence Winterman co-founded a network called Banner and Backbone. It's just bannerandbackbone.com. You can find it. It's a Substack. It's a civics-based Substack trying to reignite and re-engage civics in this country through people like ourselves, Ellie Leonard, Melissa Corrigan. I'm also hoping to expand it to be able to do these veteran but parenting issues, men's issues. Dean and I got to talk about this, and it's fucking incredible. And Dean, I cannot thank you enough for letting me come on your show today, as well as coming on mine yesterday to talk to us. It's been so much fun to get to actually know you and talk with you through all this, because I think we have a lot in common in what we are trying to do. Mm-hmm. And I think you're doing an amazing job, and I appreciate it, what you're doing too.
Dude, we just show up, and then sometimes it's all it takes. And you continue to do so for your family, your country, the people in your country who are currently under thumb of a fascist clown and his regime of absolutely useless turds. So I give you nothing but my best from Canada, men and women in uniform in Canada, the United States. You have my ultimate reverence, no matter where you serve or what you serve. Thank you for doing something that we refuse to do because we're too weak. Listen, let's do this again. Let's advocate for veterans again. Let's talk about men. Let's talk about dads. Let's talk about what it takes to make, young men less angry. But more importantly, let's stay close and let's continue to get underneath the hood of what's going on in your country that is currently trying to spread to the free world. I'm in Canada. You're in the United States. Information's borderless, as is democracy. It's something that we fight for together. So thanks for doing this, Nick. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you so much, Dean. Appreciate it, everyone.
Anytime. Talk to you soon. Nick Paro, ladies and gentlemen, Sick of This Shit with Nick is the name of his podcast. There's a hero, right? There's a veteran. There's a guy that puts his money where his mouth is. And that mouth, by the way. I'm a big fan of plain speak. I really am. Canada's here for the United States of America. We're not going anywhere. That much I know. We're going to have more of those conversations. Don't forget, you can subscribe to my Substack, deanblundell.substack.com, 50% off for the rest of the month. You get unlimited access to everything we do. We do not ask people for money to read our content, but what we do ask for you to do is to share this content with someone that you care about. Bring 3 people to the Substack app if you can. And join the resistance. This is not something that individuals can do on their own. This is something that we have to share all of this content, help each other. Paid subs are always welcome. And again, please, if you can afford to be a paid subscriber to Nick Paro, Frederick Pogue, or any serviceman or woman who's currently out there trying to fight the good fight against what we're watching, please do so. If you can subscribe to ours, great. Thankful, paid or not. I'm so grateful for the Substack community. Connects me with people, real people like Nick. Be back at 3:00 with Zeb. We'll do the 5-stack then. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Take care of each other. Fight for what's right. Do it today. Talk to you soon. Bye.